Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. This is Miss Henderson, and today I'm coming to you with a simple video on healthcare members, the members of the healthcare team. I am going to explain these different types of levels of care and what each member is responsible of performing and within their scope of practice. So if you're new here to this channel, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel so you can receive more videos and more educational material if you are in nursing school, if you're trying to become an RN or LPN, a home attendant, or a certified nursing assistant. Please consider subscribing to this channel so you can receive more educational videos. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, like and share. Thank you. So today, the learning objectives or the student learning outcomes, which are called the SLOs. So the SLOs is a framework. It provides a guidance for the lesson plan. So we are going to be discussing the members of the healthcare team and their responsibilities. We'll list 4 skills that a home health aide can perform, discuss the plan of care for the client, give examples of professional behaviors in a workplace environment, discuss compassion and empathy, discuss the scope of practice for a home health aide, discuss effective time management, and list 5 steps in the nursing process. So that's the student learning outcomes. Now, I have created a flow chart here. I try to be creative as possible with this flow chart, but this is the best I can do for it. These are the different levels of healthcare professionals. As you can see on top, we have the administrator. So what is the function of an administrator? The main function of the administrators are to oversee the general function of the facility. So they oversee everyone. They're on top of the ladder. They oversee the nurses, the doctors, the licensed practical nurses, the registered nurses, so on and so forth. Then you have the director. So the director could be an MD. So a lot of facilities have a director for the facility. It's a doctor, and they can call him with any kind of pressing issues about the patient. Then here we have the director of nursing. So what is the director of nursing is responsible basically for all the nurses. So they oversee the general operations of the nurses, what they're supposed to do, and so on and so forth. Some nursing directors have a bachelor's of nursing, some of them have a master's, some of them happens to have a doctoral degree. So they oversee everything. They have to be familiar with different types of policies and procedures of the company and the Department of Health, rules and regulations, so on and so forth. Then under the director of nursing, we have the assistant director of the nursing. So the assistant director of nursing basically helps the director of nursing. She helps to carry out an implementation of some of the daily activities and supervising the nurses and so on and so forth. Then under that, we have the staff development coordinator, who can be a nurse educator. She is responsible for staff development, like conducting in-services for the nurses, the CNAs, the licensed practical nurses, and so on and so forth. Then under the staff development coordinator, we have an RN supervisor. So an RN supervisor is someone who oversees the basic general operations of the nurses. If they're responsible for a few floors, they'll go to the floor, they will talk to the nurses and all the members of the healthcare team, make sure everything is working cohesively. Then we have a charge nurse on the floor who basically is responsible to give out the nurses their assignments. Um, she does a lot of paperwork, charting and picking up doctors' orders, so on and so forth. Then we have a staff nurse, we have RNs, LPNs, HHAs, and CNAs. So these are people that work the floor that basically do a lot of the hands-on work on the floor. On the other side of the flow chart, we have other services such as a physical therapist. So, what is the basic function of of a physical therapist? A physical therapist comes in when a patient is admitted and they evaluate the patient mobility status, their functional status, the patient's ability to perform activities of daily living. So, they will do an evaluation on the patient, and based on that clinical evaluation that they do, they will come up with a plan of care that a patient requires a one assist or a two assist, or the patient needs a mechanical a Hoyer lift to get them out of bed. So that's the main function of a physical therapist. But they also do other stuff too as a physical therapist. They are involved in performing different types of cold therapy, application of heat therapy, cold therapy, massage, ultrasound, electrical activity. So they do all of that to help to promote and to prevent muscle atrophy. Then, right after the physical therapist, we have the OT, or the occupational therapist. So, what is the main function of the occupational therapist? They are there to formulate a plan of care to help patients with their activity of daily living, such as bathing, dressing, caring for their teeth and their hair, toileting, and eating, drinking, so on and so forth. Also, as occupational therapists, are also some of them involved in designing equipments, adaptive or assistive or adaptive devices to help patients to facilitate the patient's ability to care for themselves. Maybe they'll come up with a hand. If patient had a stroke, they may come up with a spoon with a curved handle, so on and so forth. We have the speech therapist, or the LSP, speech language pathologist, that helps patients with speech and swallowing problems. So the SLP, the speech language pathologist, will diagnose certain speech impairments and swallowing problems, and they will also come up with certain techniques or certain plan of care that can help patients to enhance their ability to communicate clearly. And maybe the SLP may use pictures, boards of communication, different type of devices that can help to promote patients' ability to communicate. Then we have a registered dietitian. So a registered dietitian helps to manage patient illness. They, for example, patient may come in with diagnosis of hypertension, diabetes, hyperlipidemia. Registered dietitian will come in and she'll do an evaluation based on the patient's ideal body weight, body mass index, BMI, um, the patient's blood work, such as their triglyceride levels, the HDL, the LDL levels, and they will kind of make recommendations that the patient needs to be on a 1% low fat diet, no concentrated sweet, 2 grams sodium, so on and so forth. So this is my little flow charts with all the different members of the healthcare team and their some of their basic functions. So let's look at the care plan. The plan of care provides home health aides a direction on the type of care that is required for the client. So I have a sample here with some of the things that are within the scope of practice for a home health aide. A nurse will come into the home, will do a head to toe physical assessments, and do uh, formulate a plan of care for the home health aide in the home. And so, as a home health aide, you will be following this plan of care. It will tell you what type of diet the patient's supposed to get, if the patient is a 1 or 2 transfer, patient needs range of motion, active or passive range of motion, the frequency, so on and so forth. So the scope of practice defines the tasks that a home health aide is allowed to do correctly. The following tasks are within the scope of practice, for a home health aide, such as checking the client's vital signs. That's part of your job. It's within your scope of practice to monitor your patient's vital sign and report these findings. Transferring a client based on the plan of care, whatever the plan of care indicates. Turning and positioning your bed-bound patients are supposed to be turned and positioned every 2 hours. Keep them dry and clean. Feeding a client, placing a patient in an upright position, as you can see with the picture. Feed them very slowly. Put a protector, a bib, close protector on them. Feed them very slowly. Sit at eye level, and so on and so forth. HHA do not perform the following skills: administration of medications, that's not within your scope of practice. Inserting a tube, a gastrostomy tube or an NG tube, that's not within your scope of practice. Or performing a sterile dressing. So these are things that you don't do. That's the function of an RN. So qualities of a home health aide, or characteristics of a home health aide, is one of the characteristics is to be compassionate, being empathetic. Being empathetic is placing yourself in someone else's shoes. Being dependent. You're supposed to show up to work at 7 a.m., but you showed up at 10 p.m. That's at 10 a.m. That's not being dependent. Also be tactful. Also be respectful. So your supervisor is talking to you, or your nurse educator is speaking to you, but you're showing nonverbal communications, you're making funny faces, you're laughing, you're challenging. These are very disrespectful behavior. They're known as uncivilized behaviors. So you don't do that as a student, as a home health aide student, or an RN or an LPN student. You do not demonstrate those characteristics. They are deemed unprofessional. Be conscientious about what you're doing. Follow your plan of care. So I hope you like this little video on some of the basic functions of a home health aide, and I hope you like the flow chart that I created for you on the different members of the healthcare team. So again, if you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can receive more information. Thank you so much, and bye for now.